speaking of James Harden, Worlds.
Yeah. So speaking of James Harden, continue with our conversation. There's been rumors that he's been unhappy living in Brooklyn. He's been, in talks of possibly getting traded to the Sixers. There's been, a whole bunch of rumors of a Ben Simmons for James Harden swap. As we all know, he's close friends with Daryl Morey, who's the current general manager there, and president, excuse me. So what do you guys think of this whole James Harden situation? Obviously, we know he has a player option at the end of this season. Um, there's been talks of possibly Brooklyn moving on from him, but GM Sean Marks is not taking any calls from the Sixers. So what do you think if you were James Harden? What do you guys think of this James Harden situation? Could he possibly go and ask for a trade to the Sixers to play with Embiid, or do you see him waiting out his contract and then going and signing there as a free agent?
I think he's honestly, my honest feeling is that he only went to the Nets to get an easy championship. You know what I mean? Playing with KD again, he probably felt the ring was just guaranteed. And when I watch his play, it just looks like that to me. You know what I mean? I think he's kind of resentful of the whole Kyrie situation, not to bring that up again, but it's like, had Kyrie been playing all these games, the Nets probably would be first in the East right now. That's the way I feel. You know what I mean? And I'm no big, huge Kyrie fan, as you know, but I have to say that. You know what I mean? I think that if Kyrie was playing all these games, so I think Harden is just resentful. Personally, I think he needs to get over himself. You know what I mean? But we've heard this a lot of times, you know what I mean, with a lot of players in the league. They can't get out of their own way in order to get that key team chemistry built. It also shows to me that OKC was winning all those games back in the days because of Kevin Durant, period. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, it really wasn't a big three. They did, Russ and Harden did what they did because Kevin Durant freed them up to do it. You know what I mean? Like, Harden just seems like a man without a country right now. So he might ask for a trade. I believe he will. You know what I mean? And, same thing with Russ. I think Russ is a man without a country out in L.A. You know what I mean? We don't need it. They don't need a point guard. They need more of a traditional point guard, which is why the Rondo move surprised me, because they need somebody that's going to distribute the ball to their big guys. They don't need a point guard trying to, you know what I mean, like tear up the lane all the time like Russ does. And he can't shoot the three. I won't say it. He can't shoot the three for anything. So, I mean, I think the two of them just are not in the right spots. Maybe the Nets and Lakers could pull a trade. I don't know.
Well, that's why I say, it's funny how sometimes you see sometimes you get the moves, the trades and whatnot, and off-season acquisitions, and you say, that's interesting. And you don't think, and then it turns out that, maybe there's a little bit of an X factor, but there's also the matter of, GMs really doing their due diligence and finding ways and saying, you know what, I think the chemistry could work here. I think the balance, the combination, all these things are good. And then you have the moves that are made that seem like they were made in a fantasy league, where it's like, oh, let's just get this star. Let's get this star. We're going to just rack up the championships. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you're going to find out, at the end of the season, you're going to find out who was, who had the pipe dreams and who had the real plans. I feel like, if Harden is as good as he thinks he is, or says he is, or everybody says he is, then he can find a way to make it work. I mean, there's other factors involved with this season, like the rule changes in terms of foul calls, that foul that he was always, getting called in his favor, in Houston is no longer there for him. So he's getting to the line a lot less. He wants a shortcut, and you don't get on the fast track to a championship just because that's what you want and that's what you think you deserve. You know what I mean? When you get to play in this level, it's a privilege. It's your gift that got you there, but it's a privilege. It's not a right. You know what I mean? And neither is a championship. And even if he did win, he's going to be remembered as a guy who, chased the money, but because he felt he was the superstar too big for OKC, so he went and signed with Houston, and then moved his way out of Houston to Brooklyn. And now, if he wants to make another move, You know, if he doesn't get a championship in Brooklyn, and even if he does get one in Philly, he's going to remember, yeah, oh, he got a ring, but he was the one that was chasing the opportunities from team to team, you know, like treating them like one night stands. That's how I feel.
It's like everybody's trying to replicate what happened with the Celtics in '08, and then a few years later with the Heat. You know what I mean? Everybody's trying to get this big three, you know what I mean, popping. I had my doubts about it in Brooklyn from day one, if you want to be honest, you know, like I really did. Because if the way I feel, and Werlhens is probably not going to like this, but if the way I feel, if Kyrie was playing, right, Harden probably wouldn't be whining. They'd be winning. You know what I mean? Kyrie took a stand that had nothing to do with basketball. It's not a basketball talent thing. It's just the fact that these guys are all prima donnas except for KD. You know what I mean? That's, you know, I said it. Yeah.
But then there's also the fact that they've hardly played that many games together. You know,
well, whose fault is that? That's their
last
fault.
Season and this season. Have they played a full season? Have they played at least 82 games together? No.
Yeah, no, about warming up the bench over there, you know. So like the Nets, like I said, I really misspoke when I put them in, in the top place in the East. But I don't, you know what I mean. I'm not a big fan right now. KD, I'll always be a fan of. You know what I mean. But I'm not a fan of the team, the dynamics. I've never been a Harden fan. I think he travels every time he steps back. You know, so, like
just be careful you don't draw KD's ire on Twitter.
I ain't worried about any of these dudes.
Well, you see how he went at Stephen A. Smith a couple days ago. That was funny.
Who's this now?
Huh?
Who is this now?
KD.
Kevin Durant
said something about him. Yeah, and then Kevin Durant like clapped back, talking about, "Oh, you're gonna have your minions, and you're trying to push a narrative about his career." I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along those lines. And then, and then Durant, Kevin Durant's mother, also had to chime in too, and then he just ended up apologizing, like, "I'm sorry, Mama." So,
you know,
I mean, KD is a raw dude, man, and he is also, you know what I mean. He's also the real deal. You know, he doesn't have anything to do with this Stephen A. Smith. I don't like him, by the way, either. So.
I can't stand Stephen A. either.
Yeah,
I don't like Stephen A. I agree with you on that. But hold on, because I see Kyle's gonna say something. But before Kyle says something sick about KD's mom responded, just know Stephen A. and KD's mom have a very good. Yeah, no, Stephen A. and KD's mom have a very good relationship. I believe I saw an episode where Stephen A. Smith's mom died. She actually reached out to him. And they have a very good relationship. She just knows, like, yo, don't come after my boy like that. That's a mom love right there. So I saw you. He's gonna say, Kyle's gonna say something. Why are you a 33-year-old man? You got your mama coming for you, or defending your battles on Twitter.
I mean, you know, I won't begrudge his mom for doing that or whatever. You know, what's his name? Who are they guarding in the on the Bucks last season that
Wait, the Bucks?
KD, who's guarding KD that was on the Bucks?
PJ Tucker.
PJ Tucker. They also have words, but you know, their mom. You know, he's also really cool with KD's mom too. So apparently, KD's Ms. Durant is, you know, the cool mom, the cool basketball mom, even if her son is, you know, in his early 30s. I got no problem with that. It's funny. It's funny when when everybody is having the Twitter wars. You know what I mean? But you know, I don't think that I definitely don't think he needs anyone jumping to his defense on Twitter. He loves you know, the rapid fire thumbs.
Yeah, he gets into it. He gets busy. I ain't worried about KD coming from me. I'd be more worried about Kyrie coming from me, but I don't care about Kyrie, so.
Oh, well.
Whatever.
But anyway.
Man, Kyrie still feels the same way.
I'm sure he do too, man. You know what I mean? Like it ain't about what they doing or what I'm doing. It's about what we doing to each other, and that's absolutely nothing. So I ain't worried about it. I got my opinions. He can come and criticize me when I'm DJing one day. You know, like that'll be fair.
Kyrie Irving is
very talented. He's very talented. I have to say that every episode. He is very talented. My issues with him, one is how he left the Celtics. I didn't like that. You know what I mean? And two is just everything is about off the court antics now. And I'm tired of it. I'm done with it.
Yeah, it does become a distraction after a while.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're talking, the first thing you're talking about is your off-court behavior, then I mean, more so than what you're doing on the court. So I do agree with that. Sometimes your personality becomes so big that it becomes, everything you do outside of your game, outside of your career, outside of your lane, becomes the first headline.
Exactly.
Not even to come and sound like a Kyrie apologetic or anything, but don't you think that the media just hates the guy? Like, let's be real.
I don't agree.
Don't media's.
Well, why would they hate him? Why would they
look what they try to do? But look what they did with LeBron James when he first came into the league. All the pressure that they put, and every time he had one bad game, first thing you see, LeBron James chokes again. Skip Bayless, prima donna, choke artist, choke game.
They're still doing that to LeBron. I mean, they do that to superstars. Like, it's the superstar's job to prove them wrong. You know what I mean?
But it's also not us as the media, because that's what we're doing now, is to continue to push an agenda on how we feel of somebody. Everybody can have their own personal opinions about somebody, whether it's a player, whatever, their off the court issues, whatever. But our job is to base and criticize what we see them perform on the court, on the football field, or whatever sport that they participate in. That's what we do. And it's like, you may not like the guy in person. Like, look what happened with Rodgers when, he took his stance and what he used around the whole vaccination controversy. He got a lot of backlash for that. Yeah. But guess what? Shannon Sharp, who's one of the analysts I love, he's like, listen, I may not like the guy personally, but he's one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen. Always he's praised on him. So why can't we do that? And that's another thing why I don't like Stephen A. Smith, because he pushes such an agenda with his hatred towards certain players onto the ESPN audience. Like, dude, your job as a commentator, you commentate and critique on their play. They probably don't give a damn about you either. Yeah. So, like, what? Like, who cares? Okay, you don't like them. They don't like you. They don't even. Your job is to talk about them. If they were not doing what they were doing, you wouldn't have a job in the first place. Let's just be real.
Look,
you know what I'm saying?
Not to sound like Laura Ingraham, because I can't stand her. Now, that's a person I cannot stand. So I'm not over here saying shut up and dribble. You know what I mean? That's not really the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is when the off-court stuff takes away, it's the same point you were making. When the off-court stuff takes away from what's going on the basketball court, you know what I mean? That's when I have an issue, because, I'm a fan of the sport. I don't know these guys, and I don't really care one way or the other. Like, they don't care about me. You're right about that. You know what I mean? The only thing we share in common is the love of basketball. They're getting paid for it. I pay to watch it. You know what I mean? It's just become a little too much. And I agree with you. Stephen A. Smith does take his agenda off the court. You know what I mean? And that's why he's constantly getting slapped down. For me, I think Kyrie is a world-class talent. He could be doing a lot more for Brooklyn. You know what I mean? That's it. You know what I mean? The guy's one of the best players on the planet.
No, you're right. Like I said, we talked about the Kyrie situation. You know how I feel. If they just look at the mandate, this will be no issue.
Yes, we know.
But hold on. But before I finish, but this is the current situation that they're in, and if we'll talk about James, we'll go back to James Harden before we get sidetracked. So my thing is that James Harden, I think that this dude is just lazy. Like you said, Kane. And Kyle said too. He's just chasing a chip. Dude, you were in OKC. That didn't work out, contract reasons, whatever. Okay, so you go to Houston. That is your franchise. You asked for Dwight Howard. You got Dwight Howard. You asked for Russell Westbrook. You got Russell Westbrook. You asked for Chris Paul. You got Chris Paul. Hell, you even okayed the trade for John Wall. They gave you John Wall. All those 4 stars that you got didn't work out. So now you okay the trade to go to Brooklyn, because you're going to be playing alongside KD and Kyrie. It's like, oh, this is going to be easy. I'm in the Eastern, blah, blah, blah. And now all of a sudden, a little adversity hits. Okay, Kevin Durant, listen, he's one of the greatest players of all time. He's injury prone. Coming back from that Achilles, I think he has set the foundation on how to bounce back from an Achilles injury, because this dude is averaging like 30 a game off of a torn Achilles, which is just ridiculous. But KD has become injury prone. Kyrie situation, that's going on. And hopefully whatever happens in the future, if the mandate gets lifted or he decides to get it, that's that man's personal choice. We're not here to attack him. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens in the future. But with the whole Kyrie situation, so you haven't really got a chance to play with your 2-star players. Yes, honestly, we'll be frustrated, but Harden is to blame for this too. Harden is going to miss at the time of this recording, Harden is going to miss his 3rd straight game with a hamstring. Harden was dog shit last year against the Bucks because of a hamstring injury. So you had reoccurring hamstring injuries. So you haven't been healthy yourself. You came into the season out of shape. That's number one. Also, you're
hamstring
averaging
injury is an indicator that somebody's not working in the offseason.
Exactly. Thank you. Just continue to prove my point. You're averaging 22.5 points per game. Anybody who doesn't know basketball will look at his average like, whoa, he's 22.5. Harden is a career 25 points per game scorer. Ever since he left OKC to go to Houston, he's averaging 29 a game in his career. This is his 4th lowest scoring average in his career. Guess what? 33% from the three. Also his lowest scoring average in his career. Oh, guess what? 41% from the field, his lowest scoring average. So has career lows mainly across the board besides, assist and your win share percentage. But you've missed time because of your hamstring. Hamstrings, they could last for a while. And not only that, you seem to just complain when things you can't face adversity. So a little adversity hits, all of a sudden you what you want to do is get up and quit. You get up and quit Houston. You wanted the trade to Brooklyn. He chose Brooklyn over Philly. That's for a fact. And now it's like, well, I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, KD, he's in and out. Okay, if New York didn't have the mandate, Kyrie would play. Okay, I'm just gonna go. Let me go play with Embiid. And you think going with Philly is gonna be better? Number one, they want to say, well, he has a proven head coach. Doc Rivers has the most blown 3-1 playoff leads in history. Okay, how that Ben Simmons fiasco is gonna work out? We're gonna see what that's gonna look like. And you're gonna play with the superstar who is not dependable at all. Embiid's injury history, is a long laundry list of itself. He can't stay healthy. So you're leaving 2 superstars to play with one who is an if factor on dependability. I just don't. Again, if these rumors are true, I haven't contacted my source about this, but if these rumors are true that he's so unhappy living in Brooklyn and he's upset about the Kyrie situation, upset that KD can't stay healthy. They only played 16 games together. Okay, injuries are part of the game. We didn't expect for this situation to happen, Kyrie, but adversity is part of sports. Your job as an athlete is to overcome adversity. Stop bitching, stop crying, stop complaining. You signed up for this. You don't know what the future holds because guess what? Before KD went down, they were number 1 in the Eastern Conference. KD goes down, they slide all the way to 7th at the time of this recording. So you don't know if KD comes back and they start balling again and they jump back into seedings. What is he gonna? Is he still gonna complain? Oh, well, we're not winning. Like I was one of the people, like I said, who was low key. I agree with you, Kane, who was not really the biggest fan of the James Harden move because as a Nets fan, we gave up a lot of talent. Look what Jared Allen is doing in Cleveland. Look at what Karis LeVert he's about to be doing it in Cleveland as well too. So it's just you as an athlete, adversity is gonna hit, and then when he hits adversity, the first thing he does is just cries, complains, and wants to jump shit to another team. I don't find that cool.
Like Lamar Odom.
He was on crack. As Stephen A's would say.
So you never know.
He was on crack.
You never know, man. I don't know. But like I said, it's clear the air between, you know what I mean? Because I know on these shows we constantly go back and forth about Kyrie Irving, and I want to definitely make that point. He is the supreme talent in the NBA. One of the best in the world at what he does. You know what I mean? I want him and KD to play up to their potential. And if James Harden leaving helps them do that, then that's better for the team,
But here's the thing. If they were to facilitate a trade involving Ben, I don't think it will be straight up because you got to make the contract first. Say if they do James Harden for Ben Simmons, you throw in Maxey and Seth Curry has been a name out there with like a 2nd-round draft pick. In my opinion, I think that would make Brooklyn 10 times better because as we all want to clown and Ben Simmons about him not being able to shoot outside 10 foot. If he's in Brooklyn, he doesn't need to shoot the basketball because he has KD and Kyrie Irving to do all the shooting. Only thing he has to do is just I get to distribute the ball and play defense. And I got these two guys who are capable of scoring 30 a night. Not only that, you bring in Maxey to it as part of the trade, extra depth. Seth Curry spacing the floor, 3-point shooting. And you got a couple of draft picks you could, package that and whatever, because they're going to have to give up some assets because they can't sign Harden outright if he decides to go into free agency. It's going to be, I was watching ESPN, they said it's going to have to be involved with sign and trade. So if Harden was like, you know what, yeah, get me out of Brooklyn, it's like, okay, we'll take Ben Simmons off your hands, Philly. You got to give us Maxey. They're probably going to have to do a third team to unload Harris's contract. So I think that would make Brooklyn better because of Ben Simmons' playing style fitting with what the pieces have around him in the Nets, because he doesn't have to shoot.
Assuming Ben Simmons is happy in Brooklyn, because you see what happened in Philly. I mean, he's a guy that if he's not happy, he's not going to play up to his potential. So, yeah.
He won't play at all. He just said, screw my contract. Even though I'm getting paid millions of dollars, I just don't want to play. That's the person who we should be giving the most hate to. Like, hey, even though I'm signed to a contract, I don't want to play. Why? My coach said something sus about me if I don't know if I can help a team win. What? So you're not.
I don't have to say anything because you can look at Joel Embiid's face every time you see him, and he says it all. You know what I mean? Like, every time I look at his face, especially if Ben Simmons comes up, you know what I mean? Like, he says everything I would say much better to me without opening his mouth and saying a word. So everybody's disgusted with that. If he goes to the Nets, you know what I mean? That's kind of like, would you agree? That's kind of a last shot for him. You know what I mean? If he was to go to the Nets and subpar, I'm not happy doing this crybaby stuff. Come on, man. Enough is enough already. Yeah. I haven't heard KD complain once.
Just circling back. I'm sorry to cut you off, but just circling back to what Ben Simmons would not have to do if he was in Brooklyn. First of all, it would have to be a matter of how that trade would pan out and what personnel were involved. But what he wasn't doing in Philly was a glaring hole in it because it came at the worst times. It always happened in the postseason. Okay, yeah. He was fine. He was steady in the regular season, and he did do what he had to do. He was adequate enough for them not to complain during the regular season. It was the glaring deficiencies in at the line with the ball in his hands if he had to shoot and things like that. It was not being clutch that was the problem there. You know what I mean? Now, I feel like if you are a star, one of the stars on your team, and you are a starter, then you should never be a liability at any point in the game. No one should be fouling you just to stop the clock, put you on the line because you're not a good free throw shooter. No coach should have to take you out because they need offense on the floor and you can't provide that at all with the game on the line. That's how I feel.
I agree.
And I think that kind of thing is more of a mentality thing. I don't think it's a talent lacking on his part. So really, it depends on where he goes. It depends on his chemistry with teammates. It depends on coaching. It depends on matchups. All those things that I said earlier. I don't think it's an automatic bid to a championship if he's playing with Kyrie and Durant. That's all I'm saying. There's no guarantee. We've been talking about no guarantees in terms of Harden. There's no guarantee that either one of them is going to have success if they swap places. So, I really just feel like with Ben Simmons, it was a matter of the like I said, the deficiencies in the postseason that showed up. That's why everybody was dogging him.
Yeah.
And to your point, Kyle, like, has he ever had somebody who he respects kind of be a mentor to him? Like, obviously, who's the leader? If that trade happens and he goes to the Nets and it was like, all right, we got to work in your game. Who's the leader on the Nets? Because KD is not a leader. He just wants to go out and hoop. He's not a vocal leader in the locker room. Kyrie, I haven't really seen that from Kyrie being in terms of a vocal leader. Like, he's a leader on the court, but in terms of like, all right, guys, let's go follow me. We're going to do this. Who's the leader? Who's going to like hold these guys accountable? It's like, yo, Ben, get your stuff together. I mean, Embiid's not a vocal leader in Philly. So who is it?
Right.
So do you think maybe that, again, I'm not trying to coddle Simmons because you're 6 years in the league and you haven't developed a jump shot. You got to work on your game. But has he, I don't think he has somebody who's in his ears like, yo, get your ass in the gym, work on this. I'm going to do this with you. Come on, let's go. We need to elevate your game to take us to the next level. Like, who's that vocal leader? I don't think it's Simmons. Doc is an overrated leader, in my opinion. So who's the vocal leader that Simmons has had around his career to kind of tell him like, yo, get your butt in the gym and work.
Right. Well, maybe he hasn't, but that's the value of when they talk about having a veteran presence in the locker room. That's what they talk about when they mention having someone on your team that has that dog mentality. You've got to have if a team can't always police themselves, you have to have somebody in there that is not afraid to get in the teammate's face and bring them back to reality and bring out the fight in them if they have to, even if they're not playing, because that's important. And you win together, you lose together, and that's the value. Those are the little intangibles that don't show up in the stat lines. Is those veterans, those guys who have that dogfight and say, yo, you know what? Get your act together. We need you to do this and whatever. Blah, blah, blah. So
it's not always the best player on the team either. Like,
right.
I feel like
Not
a Warriors is
exactly.
Like Draymond Green does that in the Warriors. You know what I mean? Like, he get up anybody's face. You know what I mean? I think a lot of teams, though, it's not just particular to the Sixers or the Nets. I think a lot of teams lack leadership like that, like a team captain kind of role.
Yeah,
a lot of them do. I mean, in the LA, that's going to be LeBron. You know what I mean? In certain situations, but I think a lot of teams are lacking that kind of chemistry.
Yeah. So that always has to be taken into consideration too. It's not just about let me get the brightest star and the one who can give me 30 points a night. There's got to be balance,
Did you guys to slightly change the subject a bit quick? Did you guys see Russ competing with Dwight Howard for that rebound so he can have a triple-double game?
Yeah, I saw that.
Because we're talking about team chemistry here and somebody being a leader or whatever. Hey, Russ, it's crazy because I love Russ as a player, but I don't know. He's just so disappointing, man. It's like there's no thought of the team at all in that guy. Like,
yeah, well,
so it's the same thing. Every team needs a leader. And you guys are both right about that.
And then leadership comes in different ways. It's not just the ways I explained. Sometimes it's knowing when to hit the gas, and sometimes when to hit the brakes. It's knowing when you have to defer to the right person, and not worry and make a sacrifice your game if necessary. That's also leadership.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, we got half the season left to go, so anything can happen from now up until April. So we'll see. But yeah, all right. Hopefully, the Nets regroup. As right now, at the time of this recording, eight game losing streak. Could be 9 or could be 10. Maybe it could be 20 till KD. It could be 20 until KD comes back. It could be a strong case for his MVP.
Yeah, well then maybe they can just get a decent lottery pick.